So it is called as a center lathe because the components are mount between centers. So that's why it is called as the center lathe. And there are various type of lathes. So let's study. Let's continue with that. So this is a drill. Drill is also called as the drill bit, and these are the flutes. The purpose of the flute is to guide the chips. If the chips do not come out, like suppose if you are drilling a hole, and if the chip do not comes out, then the chip will generate a tremendous force, and it will break either the drill or it will break the workpiece. So some accident will occur. This is countersunk bit. Bit is nothing but a drill. So this is used for doing the chamfer on the drill hole. Remember, top portion is called as the saddle, and it is generally H-shaped. The front portion is called as the apron, and saddle and apron both together are called as the carriage. I was telling you about the alignment. That is, this is a live center and this is a dead center. So alignment is usually done in one plane, and in other plane, that is say vertical plane, alignment cannot be done. So that is based on, that is factory set. That depends upon the vertical plane, means that is height from the guideways to the center of this. So that depends upon how well you have done the scraping, and that depends upon the distance of the tailstock base to this, as well as distance of headstock base to this center line. But in horizontal direction, the alignment can be done. There is a provision that this tailstock can be moved in this direction, as well as headstock also can be moved in this direction. Generally, we don't move headstock in this direction because headstock is heavy. So it is advisable that you can move this tailstock in this direction, and then once you align it, then you lock it. As far as possible, we should not encourage this. These are factory set, and it is better that these alignments are not disturbed. But in case of accident, like कुछ भी ठोक दिया, tool ठोक दिया, job ठोक दिया, so in that case, these settings are disturbed. So that's why you have to do the alignment. This is a cross slide, cross feed. This is a compound slide which is used for taper turning, and it moves like this compound slide. There are 5 different ways of doing the threading. Feed stump is used to move the carriage automatically, and lead soak is used when you are doing thread cutting. The lathe parts are this 3-jaw chuck. Chuck is used to hold the component, to hold the workpiece, and there are 3-jaw chucks and 4-jaw chuck. 3-jaw chucks are also called as the self-centering chuck. This is your chuck key. You have to insert this chuck key in this hole and rotate it. So once you rotate it in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, these jaws will come, all these 3 jaws, 1, 2 and 3, will 3 jaws will come simultaneously inside or will go simultaneously outside. 3-jaw chucks are used for holding the round or symmetrical component like work. Suppose if you have a hexagonal bar, then it has 6 faces at 60 degree. So the included angle between these two jaws is 120 degree. So as long as you are able to clamp that 120 degree on a workpiece, you can accept that shape. Again, three jaw chucks are used for already machined components, and it is not used for holding the rough workpiece, because the grip of the three jaw chuck is less, and if the surface of the workpiece is rough, then three jaw chuck will not able to hold that workpiece firmly, and the workpiece will fly off moment you start doing cutting. So that's why generally the three jaw chucks are used to hold the finished. Like suppose you have a workpiece to be turned 200. So 50 mm you turn or 100 mm you turn from one side, and another 100 mm you turn from other side. So once you do that 100 mm turning, you have to turn that component and hold it in a three jaw chuck. And when the component is rough, that time you can use four jaw chuck. So four jaw chuck, unlike three jaw chuck, like in three jaw chuck, as I said that all the three jaws come inside and goes outside simultaneously, whereas in four jaw chuck, every jaw can be handled independently. So four jaw chucks are used for holding any odd shaped component, any odd shaped component. It can be pentagonal, it can be casting, it can be forging, any shape. Second thing is four jaw chuck is used to hold the rough surfaces. Again, it depends upon the jaws, kind of jaws. Like I told you, chucks, three jaw chuck and four jaw chuck, and these are mechanical chucks because you are using manual force. Similarly, chucks can be hydraulic. So hydraulic power is used to move the jaws in and out. The chuck can be magnetic also. So on the magnetic chuck, you have to hold a workpiece. But the limitation of magnetic chuck is it can only hold a ferrous component, that is the component which has iron, aluminium, copper, that cannot be hold on the magnetic chuck. If you want to hold those components, then you have to hold it between some ferrous component. That is, you have to give the packings of iron pieces, and in between iron pieces, it can be hold. But then it is risky because the components may fly off. So it can be magnetic, it can be pneumatic, it can be hydraulic, it can be manual chucks. Again, jaws can be three jaw chuck or four jaw chuck. Again, in jaws, you have soft jaw and you have hard jaw. Like suppose most of the components on turning are done on two setups except bar work. So two setup means you do some operation in first setting, then you reverse the component and complete the second set. So when you are reversing and holding the component which has been finished, so even if you use normal jaws, if the jaws are not soft, then they may create impression. See, they may create the impression. See, there is a surface like this. So this impression will occur on the workpiece, and that will damage the finish which you have obtained in the first setup. So that's why you have to go for soft jaw. Soft jaws are softer than the workpiece. And if the surface is rough, like casting, forging, in that case you have to go for hard jaws. Hard jaws gives you good grip, but it will give the impression of the jaws on the workpiece. So only on the unmachined surface you have to use the four jaw chuck. This is tool post. This is called as the four-way tool post. Why it is called as the four-way tool post? Because you can hold four tools. One, two, three, four. So that saves the time. So whenever a component is to be machined, that time you have to hold these four tools, like OD turning hai, chamfering hai, taper turning hai, grooving tools, parting tools. So all those tools can be held, and then you have to, whenever you want like tool number one, tool number two, so that time you have to loosen this, unlock this lever, and rotate this. Obviously, this particular tool post will be rotated through 90 degree. Had it been six faces, suppose if six faces are there, then it would have been hexagonal turret, like capstan and turret lathe. Now, this point, cutting point of this tool and the center line of the workpiece which is being rotated must be in the same plane. That is, this should be exactly at the center of the workpiece, at the center line of the workpiece. So you need to match that. So if this tool cutting point is below the center line, then you can put the packing below. And if this center point is above the center line, then you need to grind it from below. Usually we use, like suppose if the center line, workpiece center line is at a height of say 20 mm, then we generally use tool which is shorter than 20 mm, because grinding is a big business. Instead of that, putting a packing and adjusting is faster way. In order to reduce all this trouble like grinding, putting packing, we have another tool post which uses Woodruff key. This is rocker, what you can see, that is this. This is a Woodruff key and it is semicircular. Now, if you push this Woodruff key in and out like this tool height can be adjusted up and down. Only limitation of this tool post is it can only hold one tool. So if the component demands four tools, then you have to do the work with this first tool, then change this, put second tool, like it may be knurling tool, then put third tool like grooving tool, then put fourth tool like parting tool. So it increases the time. That's why this four-way tool post or six-way tool post are used in order to reduce the setup time. So whenever there is a mass production activity, then this type of tool posts are always desirable. These are some tool holders, like right hand tool holder, left hand tool holder, straight tool holder. Right hand tool holders means the cutting will start, that is cutting edge is on the left side, so that the cutting will start from right to left. The tool has to remember, right hand tool means tool has to do cutting when it is moved from right side to the left side, and left, that means its cutting edge will be on the left side. And left hand tool means, or left hand cutting means, the tool has to move from left side to the right side. That means its cutting edge will be on the right hand side. These are the cutting tools. So cutting tools material can be of high speed steel, or can be of ceramic, or can be of tungsten carbide, or the most hardest material like diamond, or even CBN. If you ask me in the increasing order of the hardness, then first is high speed steel. It is also commonly called as the 1841, that is tungsten is 18%, chromium is 4%, and vanadium is 1%, and the remaining is all iron, that is nothing but 77%. 18 plus 5, that is 23. So 77% will be iron. The next higher tool material is carbide, tungsten carbide or titanium carbide. Next higher tool material is CBN, that is cubic boron nitride. And then the subset strongest and the hardest tool material is the diamond. The most economical, or I will use the word cheaper, cheapest, is HSS. HSS tool bits comes in the form of square, like your KitKat ka chocolate, and then like say 20 by 20 and length 6 inch, 8 inch, and then you need to grind it. These angles, there are altogether 6 angles to be provided on the cutting tool, which we will be learning. And that 6 angles you have to specify in certain order. That is what is called as the tool nomenclature. So this portion is shank and this is cutting part. So you can regrind it many times. As long as you can hold this, you can keep on regrinding. Another concept of cutting tool is you use a sintered tip. Sinter tip means the tips which are produced by means of powder metallurgy. These tips are brazed. These tips are generally of carbides, tungsten or titanium. These are brazed to the holder. So this is a low quality material like MS, and these are the carbide tips which are brazed to this. The only disadvantage is this: you cannot get many regrinds. You can only do few regrind. That is, suppose if this becomes blunt, then you have to grind it, regrind it. So that's why the solution is you have to go for indexable inserts, which are commonly used on CNC machines. Indexable inserts are also called as the throwaway inserts, wherein you can rotate the inserts. You can rotate the edge of the insert. So if I am going to use the square insert, then I can rotate it 4 times from the top, as well as you can turn it upside down so that you get another 4 sides. So if it is a square insert, indexable type, then you can use it 8 times. You can use it means moment it is blunt, you have to index it. Normally these carbide inserts we don't regrind. Now why do you go for this HSS, carbide tip and HSS on this CBN and diamond? It depends upon the hardness of the material, workpiece material to be cut, or the type of the material. Like MS is soft, you can cut by HSS. If you go for alloy steels like high carbon, high chromium, WPS, P20, so these are the harder material which cannot be cut by HSS. For that, you need to use carbide inserts. We also do something called as a heat treatment, which I had told you. Heat treatment is nothing but heating the component and then cooling it. And during this heating, that is how do you heat, how do you soak, and how do you cool, there are microstructural changes which takes place. And depending upon the final microstructure, it gives rise to the hardness. In virgin condition, that is in raw condition, the maximum hardness of the material is 18 RC, that is 18 RC. Many times the applications needs hardness of 40, 45, 50, up to 60 or sometimes up to 65 RC. RC for Rockwell. RC for Rockwell. So what we do, we need to do heat treatment on this workpiece. So in heat treatment, we increase the hardness. Now, moment to increase the hardness to 45, 50, HSS tools fails. So for that you need to use carbide. Again, carbide inserts can be used on the workpiece material which hardness is 45 RC. So if it goes above that, then you have to go for CBN, that is cubic boron nitride. And if you have the components having hardness of 55, 60, then you have to go for diamond inserts. If you still have a harder component, then you have to change the process itself. You have to go for grinding. Grinding is the process which is used for cutting the hardest component, harder material. That doesn't mean that even for cutting the soft material you use diamond, because those inserts are very expensive. Like a HSS tool bit will cost you around one tool bit, one 4-inch long, this 4-inch long or 6-inch long tool bit, hmm, which will last for a month, will cost you around 1000 rupees. This tip will cost you around 100 rupees. The indexable insert which I was talking, that is carbide insert, will cost you around 300 rupees. Whereas your CBN and diamond, I am not joking, will cost around 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs per insert. So as an engineer, suppose if you are working on CNC machines and if you are handling diamond inserts or if you are handling CBN inserts, you have to be very, very extremely careful while handling. A small amount of, because these are the hardest, a slight vibration, slight jerk or mishandling will break and your 1.5 lakh has gone in vain. Immediately the person will be removed from the job. Of course, they don't give this kind of inserts to anyone. They give it to a particular peoples only who are already experienced. These are the cutting tool angles. As I told that there are six different angles. Six different angles. So let us take this as a front view and this as a side view. Just have a look whether you understand this too. Let us consider this as a front view, and if you look from this side, it will look like this. That means on the top there are two angles, one like this, and this is sloping down perpendicular to the screen like this, which is called as the side rake. This is called as the front rake or top rake. This is side rake. This is front clearance and this is side clearance. So try to understand these are the four angles and two more angles you will see in the top view. Just try to imbibe, just try to understand this diagram. I hope you understood these angles. Now the front rake, the purpose of the front rake is to guide the chips. To guide the chips. Chips are very dangerous. You should get the chips in broken form and you should not get continuous chips, long chips. They're always dangerous. If the chips are coming long, continuous, then your cutting is not proper and it can be fatal. Continuous chips can be fatal. It can cause accident, and chips are hot, they are sharp, and if it touches the operator, he will get burned and he can get wound, which will take some time for healing. It is always desirable that chip should break or chip should come in discontinuous way, and for that we provide a kind of a chip breaker on the top rake. That is over here we provide a chip breaker. So same is the function of side rake. So the top rake and side rake both allows the flow of the chip. And front clearance and side clearance. Your component which is being turned, the round component is like this. This is your round component which is being turned. So the purpose of front clearance, imagine that if this is straight, then it is going to rub the workpiece. So in order to avoid this rubbing, we give front clearance and side clearance. So the tool is not rubbed to the workpiece. So these are the uses of the rake angle. It allows chip being cut to flow out. And the measure whether 2 degree, 3 degree, 5 degree, 6 degree, 7 degree, how much, that depends upon the material. Like suppose if the material is ductile means it can be drawn into wire. If the material is ductile, then we give larger rake angle, that is 10 degree, 15 degree. If the material is hard and brittle, then we give smaller rake angle of in the range of 2 degree to 4 degree. If you don't want to grind the angle, rake angle on the tool, then you can drill this hole, that is a square hole, inside this holder at a 15 degree, so that that 15 degree is generated automatically when you mount the tool, or moment you push the tool inside the holder. So the hole, that is the, suppose if this cross sectional area of the tool bit is square and the inside hole in the tool holder is also a square, that square hole is drilled or it is broached or it is slot is done at 15 degree. But we don't go for this. Generally the practice is to grind the angle on the tool itself, because moment you make a hole at 15 degree in the holder, it becomes very difficult to change. Like suppose 15 degree ka, if you want to do it 14 degree or 13 degree, it may not be possible, and it takes lot of time, because making a square hole you cannot do by drilling, you have to do it by spark erosion process. So generally it's a practice or a good practice, or a popularly it is done by grinding. The angles are always grind on the tools. That's a common practice. These are the various type of tools. Have a look on this. This is called as the nose radius. Nose radius. So if the nose radius is there, like say 2 mm, maximum nose radius is 1.8 mm, 1.8 millimeter, and minimum is 0.4. You cannot go less than 0.4, because then it becomes a sharp point, and you know the sharp things will never exist in, because moment that sharp, if it is sharp, then moment that tool, sharp tool touches to the workpiece, that sharp corner is going to break. So it is a good practice to have a radius of 0.4 mm. So if the radius is more, then it can be used for roughing work, and if the radius is less, that is 0.4, then it can be used for finish. That is a good finish. You can get a good finish with a sharper tool. So as I told, this is your right hand tool. The cutting edge is on the left side. This is your left, and the cutting will be done from when the tool moves like this. Aisa. This is your left hand tool. The tool moves like this. This is the recessing tool. Recessing means a growing tool. Groove, to make a groove. Then you have a parting tool. Parting tools are लंबा रहता है ये, because the function of the parting tool is to part off the workpiece. That means it is breaking the workpiece. It is making into two pieces. And again, this is the right hand tool and left hand tool. The cutting edge is like this. So this has to be moved like this for cutting. This has to be moved like this for cutting. These are the various lathe operations which you are already aware of. Pacing is done by cross feed. Parallel turning or OD turning is done by longitudinal movement. Round nose tool means it has a liberal radius, and that radius is called as the nose radius at the tip. Liberal radius means more amount of radius, like 1.8 or at the most 2 mm. And the next pick is for the right hand turning, and you can see how the tool is moving. The tool is moving from right to left, and the cutting edge is on the left hand side. This is what is called as the parallel turning or longitudinal turning. It can be done by manually using this hand wheel, but then you have to sacrifice the finish. So whenever it is a finish cut, then it is always advisable that you have to use the auto mode, which gives the proper finish. Only advantage of doing manually is you can feel the force. When you are doing manually, you can feel the force. So if anything is going wrong with the cutting, you can understand, because you are doing it manually and you can feel the force. Like suppose if you are doing drilling and manually, and I don't know, you many of you might have worked in workshop, huh? So if the drill is blunt, then you need to apply more force. So you will come to know, अरे drill नहीं जा रहा है, drill नहीं जा रहा है. That means either the workpiece is hard or the drill is blunt, which you will not understand if you are engaging auto feed. Auto feed में आपको वो समझ में नहीं आता है, unless you have a force indicator on the machine. Most of the CNC machines, they have force indicators. There is a needle on the panel which indicate the force on the spindle, and they are using kind of a transducers or dynamometer to measure the forces. It is basically nothing but the working on the principle of strain gauge. So either there will be a visual control, that is the force will be displayed visually, or moment the force exceeds beyond certain limits, then it can give you alarm also, audio alarm, or it can give a light also, like ambulance ka light. The red light will blink or red light will rotate, different ways. Huh? But if you want a good finish, then it is always preferred to go for auto mode. This is what is parallel turning, or correct technical word is longitudinal turning. This is facing of operation, and this is called as the cross feed. This is longitudinal feed. This is cross feed. Feed is nothing but it is the amount the tool moves per revolution of the workpiece, and we have done some numericals. If you remember that Pedneker, D'Souza, they had solved these numericals orally. Like suppose 0.2 millimeter per revolution, that is in one revolution of the workpiece, the tool will move by 0.2 millimeter. Knurling is kind of a design which is produced on the workpiece, and the purpose of knurling is you can get a grip on the workpiece. So the knurled surfaces can give a better grip. Imagine if there is no knurling, huh? It's a very smooth polished surface, and if you are trying to hold it and rotate आप टाइट कर रहे हो, then your hand will slip. But if it is a rough or if it is a knurled surface, then your hand will grip properly and you can rotate it firmly. And knurling, for knurling, you have to use a particular kind of a tool, that is a knurling tool, which are available in the form of wheels which rotates, and you have to fade it against the workpiece. So it is kind of a plunge turning. Again, you have different patterns. See, you can make the surface rough, but now the concern is that the rough surface should look attractive, should look aesthetic. So you have different patterns of the knurling. Like you have angle pattern like this, you have a diamond pattern, or you have a straight pattern, and many more patterns, so that it looks better also, that design. So here the operation is shown. This is the chuck, this is the jaw, this is the workpiece, and this is a knurling tool. Simple. Parting of operation is done when you are doing bar work. That is, a bar is fed inside a hollow spindle, and obviously you have to do all the operations and then only you have to go for parting. No doubt the parting of operation consumes time on the machines, but then it avoids cutting the blanks on hacksaw machine. Let's say if you are not using a bar, then what you have to do, you have to cut, like suppose if you have a round bar of say 20 feet long and you want to cut a bar length of 4 inches each. Then one way, a traditional way, is that you hold this 20 feet bar in a power hacksaw machine and cut into pieces 4 inch, 4 inch, 4 inch, or little more than 4 inch for machining alone. Now you will take these are called as the blanks. Now you will take these pieces on the machines. Now इसमें क्या होता है, you will have to do it in the two settings, because you will have to hold that in a chuck, so that the portion which is hold in the chuck has to be done in second setting. So if you are cutting it on the power hacksaw, then minimum two settings are required. So that consumes your time and you have to compromise on the accuracy also. But if you are directly using the bar on the machine, then there is nothing like first setting, second setting. You complete all the operation and do the part of operation. Only disadvantage here is that parting of operation consumes some time, because you cannot do parting of fast. As I told, like suppose if the diameter of the bar or the workpiece is say 25 mm, then your parting of tool has to move at least 12.5 plus little overshoot and approach. So the travel of the parting of tool will be not less than 13 mm. That means this cutting edge length, this length of this cutting edge has to be 13 mm. And you cannot make this thick 5 mm, 6 mm. I mean, if you want to make it strong, because if you are making it say 6 mm thick, then there will be lot of material wastage. So generally the parting of tools, the blade width, this is for the blade, is 2 mm. So imagine now 2 mm thick and the length is 15 mm or 20 mm like this. So it is very slim and slender. So even if a small chip, a foreign particle, or if a little rise in the feed can cause this tool to break. So in order to avoid this breakage, you have to go little slow, and in this process it also consumes more time. Of course, but if you consider overall, that is, you are avoiding your power extra, investment in power extra, your time required on the power extra, the time required for the delivery, then your space, workspace, because you will be needing additional power extra machine, then operator. So many advantages are there, which proves to be better, and hence the people go for hollow spindle machines, and they always prefer to do bar work. Only you have to take care while doing parting off. You have to go little slow. You should have a very good flow of coolant so that the chips do not get trapped. They are flowing easily, and the tool tip quality is good. As I told you, setting the tool height. The tool height, that is this tip, should be exactly at the center. If it is below, then you have to put the packing. If it is above, then you have to grind it. This is what is called as the setting the tool height. And for that, this kind of tool post, these are called as the one-way tool post. One-way tool post means, or it is also called the round tool post. In it means only one tool can be held. But if it is mass production, and if number of tools are used on the workpiece, then you have no alternative but to go for four-way tool post. The fundamental or the principle of the screw cutting is the tool feed rate is equal to pitch. Pitch, technically it is defined as the distance the tool moves in one revolution. For example, many times this question is asked in the Viva during the third year, and that too at the end of the third year, sixth semester. What do you mean by M10 by 1 or M10 by 2? 90% of the students, they don't reply it. Imagine the students at the verge of completing his engineering, just 1 year away. M10 by 1 or M16 by 2. Normally the bolts are specified. Like tomorrow, suppose if you are going to work in a purchase department and you have to order M16 by 2. M stands for metric. 16 stands for the diameter, outside diameter, also called as the nominal diameter. And the 2 mm or 1 mm is whatever it is called as the pitch. Pitch is the distance between the consecutive crest or the trough. Or technically, the pitch is nothing but the distance moved by a nut in one revolution of the bolt. So screw cutting on the lathe is done with the help of a lead screw. Only care to be taken is you have to set the feed rate equal to pitch. It is again not necessary that you have to use lead screw. You can use feed rod also. You might have seen many lathe machines, they don't have lead screw. That doesn't mean that you cannot do thread cutting on those machines. It all depends upon the feed, what you give the feed. If you give the feed, if you want to cut the pitch of 1 mm, so you have to set the feed change levers at 1 mm. That's all. So your tool will move accordingly. Then what is the use of lead screw? So listen carefully. When you are doing threading, or suppose let us take example like you are doing a longitudinal turning, okay, normal OD turning, and you are taking series of cut. Series of cut means like suppose if you want to reduce from diameter 50 to diameter 25 or say diameter 30, so there is a total reduction of 20 mm. So 10 mm on each side. Now this 10 mm on the side you cannot do, or you cannot take a cut of 10 mm. So you are taking 2 mm, 2 mm, 2 mm. So if you are taking a depth of cut of 2 mm, it means your diameter will reduce by 4 mm. So if you want to make reduction of 20 overall, then 2 mm का you will have to give 5 cuts. So आपने first cut दिया, the tool is here and it goes here, then retracts, again comes, then second cut. Now when you are doing OD turning, this position of the tool, which we call as the home position, it can differ. It is not necessary that you have to start the subsequent cuts at the same point. Like say, suppose if my tool is here, if I say it is at a position of X, it's not necessary for all the 5 cuts. The tool should start exactly at X. As long as it is little away from the face, it is fine. But when you are doing thread cutting, you have to ensure, that is we call the picking up the thread. You have to ensure that whenever you are taking subsequent cut, that cut should start exactly at the same point, that is X, at the previous point. And that's why you have a half nut, which is for engagement and disengagement. So when you are starting the threading cut, first cut, you have to engage that half nut, okay, and at the end of the thread cutting you have to disengage. Or many times the people, they keep the half nut engaged and they change the direction of the spindle rotation. So suppose now initially when moving from here to here, the spindle is rotating clockwise. So moment it reaches here, you should be quick enough to rotate the spindle anti-clockwise so that your tool will move in reverse direction. This is one way. Another way is there is something called the thread dial. So thread dial allows you to pick the thread properly. So whenever the thread dial matches, whenever that line comes, that time you have to engage for the next cut. And for this purpose, the lead screw is provided. Remember, again and again I'm telling, it is not necessary that to cut the thread, lead screw is always necessary. Without lead screw, you can cut the thread, but then you need to have a good degree of skill. You should be quick enough to this clockwise, anti-clockwise movements, and you should pick up the thread properly. All this jhamela can be avoided if you are using a CNC machine. Generally, we are using two type of thread, that is MI said metric, and in which the thread angle or the included angle is 60 degree, and another is British Standard Whitworth, that is BSW thread, जिसमें कि thread angle is 55 degree. There are various other type of threads like Acme thread, include angle 29 degree, square thread, include angle 90 degree, buttress thread 45 degree, and so many. Fine thread, coarse thread, so many threads are there. So how to get this various shape? So these various shapes you are obtain or you obtain by giving the shape to the tool. So this tool is ground accordingly. If you want 60 degree, then you grind the tool 60 degree. If you want 55 degree, grind the tool 55 degree. Because there is no other way that 60 degree, 55 degree or square, acme, trapezoidal, buttress can be done on lathe machine. No other way. It is just a replica of the tool. So your whatever the tool shape is, the same shape threads, you are going to get it on the machine. And you know the use of threads. It is provided on the shaft and for movement, isn't it? For axial movement. Rotary motion is converted into axial movement. So cutting threads is very, very important operation. It's very, very important turning operation. CNC stands for computerized numerical control lathes. Computer. So here the operations are totally automatic. You have to write a program. This program, whatever you are written, is converted using ASCII codes or using binary language into 1010, that is on off. Because digital means what? On off, high low, or 1010. So whatever you write instructions in English or in high level languages, finally it is converted into 1010 with the help of the ASCII codes. This 1010, these are nothing but the pulse. So these signals are amplified subsequently with the help of the amplifier, because these are low voltage signal, less than 12 volt, and your motor, spindle motor or axis drive motors, those are all high voltage, and it needs to be amplified. Of course, we'll be having few lectures on CNC, so that time we can discuss in detail. And there are something called the TNC, that is tape numerical control. The evolution was numerical control, tape numerical control, computer numerical control, magnetic numerical control, then direct numerical control, distributed numerical control, and voice numerical control, that is VNC. That is, you give the instruction orally and machine will do the work for you. Okay. These are the different lathe operations which you are familiar. That is, you want to produce a flat surface, you want to do the taper turning, you want to do the cylindrical surface. This sketch you should draw in the exam, because you will not be able to draw the photograph. This is the radius turning. Now here, either you can use CNC machine or you have to use a combination method. Combination method मतलब longitudinal as well as transverse. Both the feeds आपको हाथ से करना है. So you need a very skilled person for this. Okay. So we'll stop here. I will request you to mark your attendance in the chat box. Thank you very much. Please write your attendance in the chat box.